Welcome back to War Thunder. Welcome aboard the French Bearcat, the F8F-1B with a battle rating of 6.3, and the battle that you see in the background is kind of satisfying, relaxing, but no ace gameplay. This is more or less a good background footage for what I have to talk, and I don't know where this leads me with the commentary, because I kind of have to admit a little thing here. I was dishonest to War Thunder. Yeah, I played another game. Yeah, Subnautica. I just want to tell you that I really like Subnautica, and let me know in the comment section if you want to see my progress so far within the game and what I think about it. I think it's a fantastic game. It's a single player, it's kind of a survival game if you don't know what I'm talking about. It just had its release. And well, the thing is, I played this game in the beta phase, like, what was it, 1.5 years ago? 1 year ago, something like this, and I've forgotten about it. Now recently a lot of other people made videos about it, and yeah, I thought, well, let's download it again. And so I played it, and the first playthrough ended with a massive bug that absolutely destroyed me, because I had a really great progress up until the point that I built the base for a rocket. Now, I hope this was not a spoiler yet, but you know, that's pretty far. And suddenly there was a extremely game-breaking bug for me. I couldn't go into the Seamoth, I couldn't go into the Prawn. Well, I could go in, but I never could go out again, except if I docked on the, you know, the submarine or the moon pool. So it's kind of an issue if you want to collect stuff. Nevertheless, back to the game. Bearcat, fantastic plane, but mine is not fully upgraded, and I'm fighting against jets. German jets I don't actually mind, because they are early development jets, so they don't have the performance of a Yak 23, which is kind of brain dead when you have to fight against this. And let me just address here the massive fail of the War Thunder Matchmaker that was just so... It was off the scale when I experienced it. People very often say about, yeah, the Matchmaker doesn't work and so forth, but they really don't, you know, name you examples. And for example, in Tank RB, you cannot really tell. Yes, you can jump into the replay, but just the first minute is kind of an indicator how the teams are matched up. And you know, maybe some people are, you know, not using the highest battle rating tank that they have in their lineup, or they just used by accident the wrong one, or they fail platooning, they want to troll in something, and that can kind of ruin your kind of analysis of the Matchmaker. With Air RB it's different, and this is very important, because when you suddenly go into the replay and check the team lineups, and you have on one team the Allied with their Griffin Spitfires, you know, Mark 22 and Mark 24, which are excellent planes, together with the Bearcats, which are also 6.3 with battle rating, and you know, you have a few bombers on your side, and suddenly you have a complete Russian team consisting of MiG-9 half, and the other half being Yak 23s. That is not fun. And I played this like a few days ago, very often, and I just couldn't be bothered with it. So I really just got really annoyed and salty about this, and there was nothing that I could do. By the way, I heard this Horton, and this player was somebody that I knew from a previous battle. Spitfire swooped in and we did some sort of team play. Well, I didn't get the kill. This is what you call team play. Jokes aside, yeah, and this is when I then really got into Subnautica. Now, in this iteration we're fighting, you know, German jets, Me-262s, but you have certain trade-offs versus the Me-262. You have some benefits, you have some drawbacks. You cannot compete with the top speed, but you outmaneuver them very easily. But the Me-262 is not a brick. You know, it's not a like a Bf-109 or a Focke-Wulf that has no speed and can't turn either and has no energy retention. The Me-262 is actually a pretty good plane at its battle rating. And so you have to really dive hard to catch them off guard when they are at a low energy state. But a good Me-262 player can make life really easy for you, difficult for you. But you have the better weapon systems. But then again, if you go head on with an Me-262 and you don't pull out in time, well, he just fills you up with some 30mm. And this is those are not the 30mm from Red Tails, you know. Jokes aside, back to the issues. So I had a little bit of a break from War Thunder. I also had the chance to get rid of the internet issues for a while because, you know, Subnautica is a single player. So when it was that day of the time of the day, sorry about this, when a lot of people use my internet as well, where I have no influence on it, then it didn't matter. I just could boot up Subnautica and, you know, I had no issues with that. So I had less and less frustration with, you know, sitting in front of the PC and playing games. And then to go back to War Thunder to have a little bit of go at the remaining grind is actually nothing bad, to be honest. And suddenly you realize that you see War Thunder from a different perspective. Dodging here the attack of the Me-262 and sending him some greetings. Yeah, I think it's really relaxing to fly something like the Bearcat, and it's still more or less stock, except for the weapons in this example. And the Bearcat is a fun little plane, isn't it? It's very good in RRB, it's very good against jets, it's very good against props, it's very good against ground targets, even if you have not researched anything, because you actually can destroy light pillboxes with a good solid burst of your 20mm universal belt, you know, half HE and half APIT. And you can actually put pressure on the enemy team by threatening to win the ticket battle as well. You can see 2 little bursts gone. Sadly, you don't have enough ammunition to really destroy like 20 pillboxes. But if numerous Bearcats would do this in a synchronized fashion, they could put a lot of pressure on the enemy. Or for instance, those 84s, which actually have much more ground pounding potential. They have more or less the same main armament, they have more rockets and bombs and so forth. So just to put things into perspective. Now the battle could have been played better at my hands, I agree. I could have helped the Spitfire out. I had a bit of a lazy situational awareness. I was not super try-hard like I usually, you know, want to fly my planes. And all in all, again, it was very, very relaxing. So I just want to spade the last 2 remaining tier 4 planes that are not spaded, the French Bearcat and also the American P-51H. But then again, I tried it often, I often landed against those Russian teams that I just mentioned, and that was not fun. That is just brain dead, and that just sucks out the fun. And I don't know, I don't want to be gunfoot. I don't want to be gunfoot, and there is no skill involved making your plane work against a Yak-23 because it outperforms you so hard. Yes, of course, if there is an idiot in the Yak-23 that forgets to fully press W to 100% engine performance or just sticks to the head on you, then you can trade, of course. But you know, there are a lot of professional seal clubbers in Yak-23s that want to pad their stats, as long as the Yak-23 is still 7.3, where it just simply doesn't belong. It's 8.3 material. End of discussion. And so I was kind of relieved when I had those battles against the Germans. They put a fair fight up, and yeah, in a fair fight, it's the player who makes the difference, in my opinion. You can disagree, or agree, disagree, it doesn't really matter. However, 2 things that I also want to comment on today, and this is the Challenger 1 hype and also the LA200 hype. First of all, the LA200. I have not a lot of information about these planes, but it looks absolutely stunning. I have to say, it looks absolutely cool. 2 engines, one in the middle, one in the back. and also 3 37mm cannons with limited amount of ammunition. Yeah, that's brutal firepower. This is pretty brutal. The next is then the Challenger 1. Yeah, there is so much hype about this tank that I don't understand, because it's just a Chieftain Plus, you know. From everything that I read from the dev blog and read on the forums, it's just a Chieftain Plus. It has the same weakness, very strong turret, upper frontal plate is okayish, but the front lower plate is laughable, and so is the side. So yeah, go hull down, but you know, this is also the myth that surrounds the Chieftain. Good luck trying to find a position where you actually can make use of this, and then, you know, hope that the enemy shows itself to you. Okay, so the second you need to push, you just give the enemy a shot at your lower plate, and all this fantastic armor is gone, and then there is your speed. Is the Challenger, you know, a Leopard or a Kyla? Is it fast? Tell me about it. Let me know, because I don't understand that much of a hype. Yes, it's a big name, Challenger 1, you know. It's famous, it's a good tank, no doubt about this. Strong cannon, good ammunition, and so forth. But I don't understand this mega hype. So yeah, give me your best shot. As I did on this ME262, the camouflage looks like a Sturmvogel, so it's the A2A, if I remember correctly. It has better performance, but I hit him, and again he hit his engine, which is a common thing on ME262. You hit them with one shell, it doesn't do critical damage, but suddenly the enemy drags a smoke line behind them, whatever you want to call it. Nevertheless, yeah, ME262s versus Super Props, it's actually something exciting. And now I'm actually down with my ammunition. This is something where I regret my ground striking, but then again, you know, it always how the battle goes. Whatever, let's talk about this map for a while. I actually like this map. It's big, it's open, but it's not super big, okay? And if you have those not full teams, like when it's late at night, or I don't know, at this battle rating range where it's like 10 versus 10 or something like this, the size is optimal. Also, I like the distribution of the ground targets, you know. It's not just one big blob of ground targets where it's predictable where the enemy ground attackers are, but it's a real front line, you know. And so you can attack on various different points, then retreat out of the spotting range and keep the enemy guessing. Make some ambushes on them by climbing to altitude, for example in clouds, and then when they are at low altitude to search for you, you can boom and zoom on them. It's fantastic when it works. It's not that often, I have to admit, but it's fantastic when it works, and that is fun, to outthink the enemy where your skill matters. And so yeah, this is something that I want to just quickly point out. So at this point in time, it's a 4 versus 3, something like this. And I have to land because, again, I need ammunition. And I'm also relatively short on fuel, just 7 minutes left. And yeah, I'm not damaged, to be honest, so this is good. I can easily land this plane. It's fantastic at doing so. It's also a carrier-based aircraft, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it has the arrestor hook. Just a few battles ago, I landed it on what is it? Not Sicily. What's the map? I don't know. Where you land on this British aircraft carrier, I guess. Yeah, it was just a few battles ago. It was a mixed match, nothing very nice, but hey, whatever. So I just repair, and then off we go again. 3 minutes later, and I'm actually within the clouds at 2000 meters altitude, and I am now diving on the ME262s that, you know, tried to get rid of the other Bearcat on my team, and I tried to surprise them. But it's actually not always that easy to do so. The players that I am against, they're actually, I face them on a regular basis, to be honest. At least today, and yeah, so they were not stupid, you know, they knew what they did wrong and right. They used the ME262 to not to complete 100% perfection, but they used them very good. It was not easy to come them by. They didn't energy trap themselves or didn't try to turn fight with you, and they tried to make use of cover as well. And so this is one of the little mind games that we did. I climbed within the clouds pretty hard, and we lost contact from each other, so we don't know where exactly where we are. And then I heard him, and yeah, we kind of wanted to go there. He turns into me too sharply. I underestimated his maneuverability because he was actually at the right speed to turn into me. Mistake by me, but I corrected it quickly by avoiding it by simply turning sideways and avoiding the shots. And yeah, there is one Arado. It's a good plane, to be honest, but not that useful, to be honest. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. The C3 variant is kind of a hybrid between a fighter and a bomber. You can call it fighter bomber nearly, with those 4 jet turbines. It has a fantastic thrust ratio, I guess. You really feel the strength. It has a very good climb rate. It's not the fastest plane out there, but certainly it can yeah, that was a bit of a misplay by me. It can surprise you. And so I had this kind of fight with this ME262. I had a little bit of wobble issues with my Bearcat. Again, it's not fully upgraded, and I decided to myself, well, I cannot win if he decides now to use his energy advantage. The Bearcat is good, but it's not that good. So I need to get speed, and I need to surprise him, and so I turn around just in time. I looked it up, and there is the shadow in the clouds. I did not really know what to do, but he actually played it safe again. And again he turns into me, and this time I have the better turn, but he actually decided to go into a head-on versus my team buddy that I didn't see coming on the radar, and I just missed the what do you call them? The shots where I tried to guess where the enemy is going. I tried to spray and pray a little bit here, but I have enough ammunition to actually be able to afford it, and this is a big difference. So the enemy has now a significant points lead, and I need to do something about it. Now in this iteration of the match, it is possible for the allies to win by doing not much, because at certain points the tanks will capture A, B and C, and that will also lead to a point gain or a point loss for the enemy team, to be more precise. So here the Arado turns in, and I miss most of my shots, but then I set them on fire, and the universal belt that I highly recommend saws off the wing of the usually very tanky Arado 234B. And so now we actually can do something about those vehicles that are also spawning in, because the battle now is over 20 minutes long. And yeah, the other ME262 appears, and let's see which kind of variant it is. There are so many ME262 variants in the game with various different characters. Single shots coming in. It's the novel with the 50mm. I could go on head on, but I picked the wrong angle, and yeah, we turn into him, and he has its problems to get away, but he manages to do so. And now to spray and pray against 262 that is doing the, I don't know, dolphin maneuver, whatever you want to call it. You know, this up and down. Yeah, you have your sweetheart time. And now I just finished it off the vehicles, but now it's very close to the enemies to win. And even by taking down the remaining enemy vehicles and pillboxes and so forth, it's actually pretty close. I took out the main threat, that is the Arado with the bombs, but still, you know, the ME262 Van der Stein, he has a 50mm. I don't know which kind of ammunition he has. Does he have the solid shots to go ahead on with planes, or with tanks. Which kind of ammunition does he have? Well, it doesn't matter, because now I commit to the head-on and I shred him really hard. Again, the universal belts are hitting insanely hard, even against the, as well, very tanky ME262. Whenever you shoot at the ME262 with 50 cals, you kind of feel that they can absorb more damage than your usual enemy. So at this point in time, I actually was looking around, where is that ground target that's plinging, that's, you know, pulsing on the minimap, because those ground targets actually count. And now I want to fly towards the light pillboxes to further put pressure on the enemy. I don't have enough ammunition, and now I realize that my Bearcat friend is actually engaging the other ME262, and I don't know how it's looking for those two guys, but actually the Bearcat took down the ME262 and we won the match, because that was the last enemy player alive. And at times when I was in the battle, I didn't think that this Bearcat was really up to the task. There were situations where he didn't really pay attention, but so did I in certain cases, so who am I to judge him? So a bit of a long range burst here, and again I take down another light pillbox. So 3 enemy planes destroyed, 9 ground units. Let's see which kind of reward we get in this rather relaxing and long battle. Yeah, the battle took like 23-24 minutes, and I was pretty okay with it. So nice result here. You can see now I unlocked the cover, and yeah, that's actually the progress. I got a fair amount of research points and silver lines, but it doesn't really matter, does it? So that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this rather relaxing video, and please give it a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we will see each other in the skies of War Thunder.